All right, what's up, rock stars? What's going on? It's Adam, and we've got an amazing, incredible show for you today, exclusively for members of the BurnOut to BadAss group, where we're turning anxiety into fatigue into peak performance with freedom, energy, and cash flow. Today, I've invited the brilliantly badass David Bryan to literally join me by the campfire to where he can share his story about decades of anxiety. Now, David is one of our clients who's had some incredible, just unbelievable breakthrough results in so many different things in his business and his personal life and all this great stuff. Now, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to let him tell a story. Tune into this, guys, because there is so much you're going to learn from what David is going to share with you. It is truly an extraordinary journey of someone who has tried all kinds of different stuff to make things work. And then things finally clicked and David finally dialed in. And today he's on the path to a life that is truly, well, truly extraordinary. So David, thank you so much, man. And it's great to have you here.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
So why don't we start out with, why don't you just let everyone know what you do and, what was happening before we started working together? Let's start there.
Well, I'm a builder, and, that being a super high-stress job anyway, I'd had some life events thrown at me in the last couple years, kind of taking on more than I could really handle, and, compound the stress of the life events. I just got to a spot where, things had just truly gotten dark. I was really losing the ability to care about much, and was losing focus at work, losing focus at home, and just kind of really in a downward spiral. And I'd been trying therapy. Medication seemed to always just give me, the side effects and none of the benefits. Too old to self-medicate, and knew the pitfalls of that. So fortunately was able to avoid going down that rabbit hole again. But nothing was really working. And I couldn't make anything stick, and couldn't kind of muster days worth of positivity. And I felt tremendous change in just a little bit of time that we've been working together. And I know I'm on the right track, and looking forward to getting it all back together, getting my mojo back.
Man, that's so to tell me, how long have you been dealing with anxiety?
My history of anxiety goes back 20 plus years, really kind of started in probably mid high school. And when it gets to be too much for me, it really just shuts me down. And I'd kind of gotten back into that almost same mode where it's just crippling, and there's not much that relieves it for me. And I've had bouts through the last 20 some odd years where, I'd completely manage it. I'm on top of it and it's not bothering me. And then I have months at a time where it's just completely controlling my life. And I think by making some of the steps that, you guys have led me to do, I felt compelled to kind of share my story and maybe see if I could steer some other people in the positive direction.
So when you say that it's crippling, what does that really mean?
I mean, it gets to where I'm just so unproductive. I'm busy, but I'm not productive. I don't care about anything in my life, and it's just, crippling truly is the word. I'm going through the motions, but I'm not really at the wheel, and I like to, everybody thinks about just being present in the moment, and I was just going through the motions, and at times not even doing that.
So when you say you're busy, like how many hours were you working a day, but nothing was happening?
Easily, 9-10 hours a day. Typically just finding things to occupy my time versus just really taking care of the tasks at hand. And whether that was things, it gets to be this downward spiral where the things that stress me out, if I avoid them, they further stress me out because I'm avoiding them, but yet I can't make myself just tackle them. Sorry about that. So, it just kind of gets to be this vicious cycle where I'm not taking care of the tasks at hand, and then that just compounds the stress, and then that fuels the anxiety, and then further shuts me down. So it's a slippery slope.
So if you were working, you were working Monday through Friday, or was that like 7 days a week?
Trying to just work 5 days a week.
Trying to, but how often did it happen?
It trickled into Saturdays a good bit, and the thing about it is, if I'm not as productive, and I take it home with me because I've got things that were unfinished, and then I'm thinking about it on the weekend, or I'm stressed out from it, and it's taken away from family time, it's taken away from my relationship with my wife. It just it can get out of hand like that. It was out of hand.
So it was impacting your business.
Yes, absolutely.
And how was it impacting your business?
Just not having a full control over all aspects of my business. I mean, the things that stressed me out, I was kind of going into an avoidance mode, and that's, in a small kind of family business, you can't be avoiding anything. You gotta be taking it all on, and I was letting some stuff go to the point of kind of self-sabotage, and it was really due to my stress levels and the inability to manage them.
And so that was impacting your business. And when you came home from working, were you able to unplug?
No, it's always, there's this kind of baseline stress level that's there, and I can't focus from it, can't turn it off, and I don't know. It got really bad there for a good while.
And how was that impacting home life?
Things are tense, for sure, to say the least. It's just, trying to be relaxed and fun around the kids, be a good, fun-loving dad, and then be, not pulling my weight as a partner for my wife. Definitely a lot of impact across the board.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. I know what it's like to wake up every morning, same day, 2 feet away from the same person, and but feel 2 miles away.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so, did you notice any behavioral changes with your kids?
We'd had so much going on family-wise, and I know we'll get into that here in a few minutes, but you can't help but think that it's impacting. If I'm running on an 11 stress-wise, my kids are certainly fueling off of that energy. I mean, if a plant will pick up energy from somebody, I know my very sharp little kids will as well. So, yeah, I think my kids were running hot just like I was. And, so it's raises everybody's stress levels around you.
Okay. So I know you've got some pretty intense stories to share about your son.
Right.
And let's talk about that for a second before we get into some of the other challenges you're running to before we start working together.
Okay. Early August 2016, my son was in a freak mountain bike accident. He was paralyzed on his left side, life flighted. When we get to, we had to drive a couple hours to the hospital, and, fortunately for the drive, we didn't know how serious it was until we got there. We were met by the neurosurgeon when we got there, and they said he's got an open skull fracture. He's paralyzed on his left side, and if he makes it through surgery, he'll probably never walk again.
Oh, man.
So, just hearing that, it's every parent's worst nightmare. He obviously made it through the surgery, and over the course of the next week, he came out of surgery completely paralyzed on his left side. Couldn't feel you holding his hand, anything. And within a matter of 4 or 5 days, the nerves started waking up, and gross motor movement was able to, he started getting some sensation back. I think day 5, he was able to raise his arm, and make a fist. And then within a couple of weeks, he was learning to walk again. And, he's forever changed, and so are we. He's got a metal plate in his skull. And there's a lot of things he can't do, but there's a lot of things he can do. And if you saw him, you wouldn't even know what he'd been through. But watching your child go through that, and then, the trauma, PTSD that we've all experienced since then, it's just, honestly, it just sent me down a slope. It was just too much, and then you take work stress, and I don't know how the hell I'm supposed to care about work after going through something like that. I just want to spend every minute with my child or with my family. So, that was really the start of what led me down a, path of darkness, really. But, and then there's this guilt that goes along with it, because he's nothing short of a miracle, and you just feel like you should be grounded in gratitude, but that's not how an anxious mind, or probably even any mind, works. There's just the horror of the whole thing and everything we saw with him and everything we went through, that it's tough to process all that. It was for me.
Man, I don't even know what to say to that. So, how old was your son when this happened?
He was 9.
9.
Yep.
Wow. And so that happened on top of the stuff you were dealing with at work, the already kind of less than epic home situation. Yeah?
Yeah. We had definite life stress, and I had just gone back out on my own from a nice, stable job when I, probably, I guess, 8 months prior to his accident, and gotten back into contracting on my own, and literally about to start framing on the first house I was getting back into the week that we were in the hospital with him. So it all came crashing together.
And that was in 2016.
2016.
And so for the next 2 years, because we didn't connect with you until, August of this year?
Right.
Yeah, just a couple months ago. And so what were some of the challenges between that and when we started working together?
Well, like I said, you want to seem like you're just grounded in gratitude from, the fact that he is an absolute blessing. But, the trauma reared its head in a lot of ugly ways. And I think, again, we just kind of, the baseline mode of operating at our house became fight or flight. We're just so stressed all the time. Just, it's after going through something like that, you're just kind of on high alert all the time, and just running hot all the time. And then I think it really made me question, how hard I was working, what I was working for, because the time is the precious thing. I think that's what my son's accident taught me was, it doesn't matter how much money I have or how much, what our house is like. All your kids want from you is time. But the reality of our world is you got to work and you got to provide. And that just kind of became this giant conundrum for me. And I lost the ability to care about work, really. And then throw in the fact that my business is a high stress business, and it's not something you can turn off at 5 o'clock every day.
I think that's really just. Yeah, I was gonna say I think that's true for most entrepreneurs and business owners.
It absolutely is, for sure. It doesn't matter if you're in manufacturing something you've invented, or you're just working for yourself. You're not turning it off at 5. But if you can't turn it off and you also don't really care about it, it's a real complex thing.
So how is this affecting your health? Were you experiencing any physical symptoms?
Yeah, I've got a back injury from construction from 10, 15 years ago. That had flared up like I think 3 times last year. That was the worst. I typically get 1 a year. I think I got 3 last year where, I mean, can't move. Stomach acid problems, eating poorly, can't sleep worth a damn. I mean, it manifests in so many different ways. And then just feeling exhausted all the time because my brain's going so fast is really the biggest one. I mean, I can't slow down to enjoy much of anything, which was completely counterintuitive because that's all I wanted to do was slow down and enjoy the time with my kids after what we'd been through.
So you had mentioned to me the other day that the stomach problems were pretty intense.
Yeah, I've had, when I get at my max stress levels, I, just wake up coughing my head off to the point of, some mornings throwing up stomach acid, that kind of stuff. I mean, just, it can get pretty bad if I don't manage it, and I haven't been managing it. And I hadn't been before we got with you guys.
Did you ever go to the doctors for that, or?
Yeah, several years ago I did, and it was, they run you through thousands of dollars worth of tests and then tell you need to take some pill that gives you, gave me side effects worse than the problems I was having to begin with. So,
what were those side effects?
Well, I know one of the pills they gave me was, I think, Nexium, and it gave me heartburn, and I didn't have heartburn to start with.
All right.
So I don't know. It's supposed to control stomach acid, and it ended up giving me like heart attack style heartburn. So I don't do well with Western medicine, that's for sure. I get the bad and not much of the good.
Man, that must have been really frustrating.
Definitely.
And so you said your sleep was impacted. Were you having trouble going to sleep, or were you tired but wired?
Definitely tired but wired. That's a good way of putting it. I make myself, for whatever reason, have a couple hours of quiet time after everybody goes to bed in the evening, so I end up staying up too late, and usually I'm not doing anything productive. I'm just staring at my damn phone, watching people bicker about politics or whatever on Facebook, and and then I'll wake up in the middle of the night worried about something, or thinking about work, thinking about things I need to do. So definitely impacting sleep a lot, which, that's part of the vicious cycle that fuels all the rest of it as well.
So about, how much sleep were you getting?
Quality sleep, maybe 4 hours a night, 5 hours on a good night.
That's definitely tough to deal with the next day. And you were waking up feeling tired?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's not supposed to happen, is it?
No, when the first thing that crosses your mind is, I wonder if I can take a nap today. That's not good. And the answer is no anyway. So.
Now, did you ever have, secretly have thoughts like, is this even worth it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I've mentioned to you my Jeremiah Johnson principle, where I just want to stop shaving and cutting my hair and just run off into the woods and live a simple life. Definitely none of it seemed worth it for a good while there, and I think that's what kind of led me into the kind of cave of darkness. I didn't see much point in what I was doing. I certainly didn't take any joy from it. I wasn't taking joy to it, and it wasn't serving anybody, including my family or my clients. So,
yeah. So it sounds like you had a similar experience like I did. You get home, you can't unplug. Everybody else goes to bed, and then you search out for stress buddies, right?
Yeah.
So alcohol, the cup of pain relief, or whatever it is. Some other people get into just so they can just blank out, right? And
Yep.
just chill and stare at the ceiling fan. And that sure as hell is not a good way to go, is it?
No. And I was fortunate this go around that I knew throwing large amounts of alcohol at everything we'd had going on wasn't going to help me in any way, shape, or form. So I didn't go down that path. But I certainly see how people do. And I've watched a lot of friends do it that way, and it's not the right fix. I can attest to that.
So we really got down into, you were in hell. I mean, that's what it
Yeah.
sounds like. That's like the definition of hell right there, living hell. So what were some of the things you tried to do that just didn't fix the problems?
Well, having a busy mind, it's like people are like, "Oh, check this book out," and a book has to be pretty interactive for me to really get into it, and so none of the books worked. Tried medication, like I mentioned, I get nothing but the side effects, and that just fuels the frustration because everybody, you finally get to the point where you're like, man, I got to take some medication and get some help, and then it makes things worse. And that was a low point for me when you finally say, okay, I need some help. You try medication and it makes things worse. Definitely, I couldn't make an exercise plan stick. Even though when I would do it, I knew it would help. I wasn't really trying enough that I knew would help. I was trying for the simple fixes, like the medication's an easy fix if it works for you, and it can be a good thing for some people, but it wasn't for me for whatever reason.
Understood. And were you on anxiety meds or depression or?
I've had better luck with the anxiety medications, but I'm also terrified to be on something like that for long term, just because I've watched friends go down, bad paths with that in the past. And I never really had any luck with any kind of antidepressants, anything like that.
Did you ever seek out any other type of stress management?
I've done acupuncture. I've done nothing worked. I mean, exercise seems to be the one that really works for me. I wasn't having any luck in any other arena, and I was in such a spot that I don't know. Definitely nothing seemed to be working for me.
Man, first of all, I've got to honor you for being there for your family, and I mean this in the most loving way, pushing through, powering through, right? Because that's what most of us do, especially when we're driven. If you've got a career, especially if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, and you're trying to make some stuff happen. I mean, what you're doing is just a whole another level. It's crazy. So let's give some people some specifics. You came into Move Think Smile, into the BurnOut the BadAss program, and yesterday you were telling me you could tell it was different. But what specifically did you change about the approach you were using, and what worked whereas things didn't work before?
Well, I think, one of the first things that really made it stick was the fact that, you guys have been through this. You've had a struggling business. You've had spots where you just wanted to run off into the woods and just walk away from it all. And I think for me personally, that builds a bond, and it makes me, feel more comfortable talking to you about stuff is you've been through it. I'm not going to, I've tried other coaching before, and I didn't have the bond with the person I was working with because I didn't feel like they'd ever, if I'm going to talk to you about my innermost struggles, I want to know that you've been there too. They don't have to be the same, but I can't just spill my guts to somebody who's never been in the shit and had to fight their way back out of it. I'm going to take direction from somebody who's been there and done that, and that's really what kind of brought me to you guys. I knew the story behind it, and so one of the first things I did after kind of picking up Elia's book was, she mentioned like a fear of public speaking. Well, I was being asked to do some fundraising for the children's hospital that saved my son's life. I'm terrible at public speaking, and I'm up there like about to piss my pants, but I couldn't say no, and it was the most fulfilling thing I've done in years, was just to get up there and basically cry in front of a group of strangers, and they all loved it, and it's a powerful story, and it's got a great ending, and they don't know the rest of the mess that went with it, and they don't have to, but just having the nerve to get up there and do that was a really big tool for me to say, okay, I can do some things that are out of my comfort zone and make some changes and push forward.
So what was it that made you want to pick up the phone and call Elia?
I'd followed her stuff on Facebook. I'd seen her book. I bought several copies of her book to give to some family members at Christmas, not knowing that I would be the one that needed it the most. So when everything else or nothing was working, everything else was failing, nothing was working, I kind of picked it up, and right off the bat, it's just, it's simple, but yet I can feel like a commonality or a common bond between what y'all been through and where I was, and there was a comfort there, really.
Awesome. Well, we were really excited when you came in, and it's guys, it was crazy. Like, I don't think we got a smile out of David for about 4 weeks. Like, he was in such a bad spot, and to see him just smile now, even though he's just shared a story from a really sucky place, it's amazing. It's amazing just to see that in there, and how Move, Think, Smile has really helped you. So has there been anything specific about Move, Think, Smile that you can share with everybody that was just a eye-opener for you?
Yeah, you emailed me one evening, and I had shared some stuff in business, a pending change that I wanted to make, but was really terrified because it's something you just really don't do in my business. But I was at a point where I had to do it, and you kind of posed a question to me about, red pill or blue pill. If you take one of these, this happens, and if you take the other, this happens. Which one would you choose? And it was just so simple, and we had a good email back and forth about it, and then life really just kind of shoved the pill down my throat a couple days later, and it was very uplifting. I mean, it didn't make anything necessarily easier, but it was like, it put me on a path. It's not going to be clean and easy, but it was a path to rebuilding myself and everything I've been working for. So I'm thankful for the change, and I'm thankful to be in the spot where I could laugh at it and go, okay, well, there you go, there's my answer, and be in a spot to deal with it and move on. Yeah, versus just letting it be defeating.
Yeah, guys. So, David, you can. I don't know how much you can talk about that situation, but he was stuck in a predicament where he felt like he was contractually obliged to fulfill something he absolutely hated. And it was a really, really challenging time. And I think that might have been the lowest point. And it was also the turnaround point, too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't go too deep into it other than, I knew my actions and the mental place I was in were not serving the client. They weren't serving me. They weren't serving my family. So, just to go through it, to have some battle at the end, um, I ended up just opening up to the clients and telling them. I mean, they knew what I'd been through, and they're really good folks. And I said, look, I'm just not in the spot to be your guy right now, and I hate this, but you deserve better. And they took the bull by the horns and sought that out. And hate to quit something that you hadn't, or that you started, but if it's better for everybody involved, then it's the way it needs to be.
Well, David, I honor you for making that bold move, because taking action can be hard sometimes. It really can, and having the support of other people can really help. So let's get out of the doom and gloom here, and let's kind of lift up in here. It's like, how has the quality of your life changed? Obviously you're smiling more. But
smiling more for sure.
But how have things changed?
Well, I just feel like I'm able to look at the positives again, and I've got some stuff to clean up from that mess. It's not just you can't just walk the plank and expect to fall in a pile of jewels at the bottom. I mean, there's going to be some ups and downs that come with a move like that, but I knew that. But I'm able to look at the positive things that I have going, the things that are coming in the next couple of years, and just continue to work towards getting on a better footing and kind of getting my mojo back in life and in business for sure.
So it sounds like you're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel now.
Definitely.
That's
I think it's an oncoming train like it was a few months ago.
Right on. So tell me about your mojo. Like, your mojo's back. What does that mean for you?
Well, I mean, this is a big thing. I mean, when I approached you and told you I wanted to kind of share my story, I want to be able to help other people. I know, construction's what I do, but I think there's more important things in life and the state of the world these days. I think being able to be in a place to help other people, whether that's kind of helping raise money for the Children's Hospital or helping somebody else, that I don't even know that's just struggling, to reach out and get a message like this and get people the help they need to get themselves in better spots. I just think that kind of betters humanity, and feels good to be able to kind of be working towards being in a spot to do that.
Right on. I love it. And things are better. How the tension at home?
Yeah, it's coming down for sure. We're not at 11 anymore most days. She still has to live with me, so there's going to be some 11 days. But things are coming back down. The kids are doing great, and my son is really strong and healthy, and we're just truly grateful for that. And to go for his follow-up visits and hear things like he shouldn't be walking, there's no explanation of why he's here. I mean, those are the things that, make me know that I have to be grounded in gratitude and to share positive things, no matter what it takes to get in the spot to do that. That's where I have to be.
Yeah.
And I got to do whatever it takes to be there.
And so what are some of the things that, you had stopped doing, but you're starting to do again?
Well, starting to get outside more. Elliot's got me doing some journaling. I'm getting back outside, getting on the mountain bike. Snowboard season's right around the corner. Starting to work on some plans to get out west, and those are always fun trips. And getting in the woods, doing a little bit of fishing too. So just trying to restore some balance and make sure I'm sharing those experiences with the family.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. And so sounds like work is getting better. You've taken bold action to kind of get out of something that felt toxic to you.
Yep.
And guys, just so you know, David is still a current client of ours. Okay. So we are in mid-process of turning his BurnOut into a BadAss. But the reason I wanted to share his story with you today is because so you can know that you don't have to be in a sucky place, right, David?
That's right.
You know,
And it can change as quick as making a tough decision, making a bold move can really kind of liberate you.
so okay, so Dave, at first I got to say it's an incredible honor to work with you and see the joy that's just coming across you. And I'm not kidding. To see the smiles on someone's face when they just didn't even know they existed anymore is fantastic. And to hear you talk about, going snowboarding again. And guys, I've seen some pictures of David snowboarding on like double X extreme terrain and stuff like that. And it's no joke. But when you aren't doing the things you love anymore, you sometimes have to ask yourself, why I didn't sign up for this. How the hell did I get here? You know. And Dave, I just want to say thanks for coming into us. Thanks for doing anything. Do you have any other parting shots you want to say to everyone watching right now?
I'd really just, like to encourage people that, if you're in the spot or a spot like the one I was in, I mean, reach out to Adam and Elia, make a call. It's just, a quick consult, let them feel you out, feel them out. I guarantee you're going to feel good about, what you get back from them. And, like Adam said, I mean, I'm smiling again and we're just really getting started. So, reach out, that's the biggest thing when you get into this spot is just reach out and take a bold move and good things will come from it.
That's right. So David, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I hadn't heard it at this level. It's just blowing my mind. I'm not even sure what to say. And just to let you know, we're just getting started, right? We're just getting started. And I can't wait to get you out to an obstacle race and see what it's like to take on some real physical obstacles because, man, they make those mental obstacles a heck of a lot easier to deal with. Let's take it as far as we can go. And we're having a really great time working with you. Elia is over there and she's waving right now and she's like, hey, what's going on? So guys, if you're listening to this and you want that same journey that David took and you want to start having massive change in weeks, not years or decades, I want you to go to movethinksmile.com/talk, book a call to speak to us. Just like David said, we'll talk about everything that's working and everything that's not working with you. I don't care if your life is a train wreck right now. It doesn't matter. Just come on the call. Be upfront with us and let us know where you're at and let us know where you want to go. We'll put our heads together and see if we can help you just like we're helping David. And so, David, thanks again. Let's circle back and catch back up where you're at in a couple months.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Now, guys, David did say it's not easy, and legally we got to say this. Move, Think, Smile, it is a simple system, but if you want extraordinary change in your life, it's not easy. It takes a hell of a lot of work to get this stuff done. David is a phenomenal entrepreneur. He's a phenomenal person, and he's pushed through some pretty serious setbacks, and he's coming out of the end. He's going to be killing it. He's going to really impact his business. He's really going to impact his family. His son. He's going to be snowboarding again. Some cool stuff. So if you want the same level of service and support and guidance that David has, come on over to movethinksmile.com/talk, and we'd love to talk to you. David, thanks so much again.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week for the next show.